Good morning, this is Josh Widdicombe on Sunday. Good morning, producer Neil.
Good morning, Josh Widdicombe.
How are you?
I'm alright, it's nice to see you again. We had a nice lunch this week.
Yeah, very nice. I just think a lot of people know you as producer Neil.
Mm-hmm.
How many people do you reckon know your surname? Do you have quite a lot of followers on Twitter? What? Is your Twitter handle isn't producer Neil, is it?
It isn't.
No. I suppose you get included on the podcast tweet.
Only if you retweet it. But I don't normally put myself in it.
You don't? When XFM are tweeting, you don't?
No.
No wonder we're not able to knock cereal off the number one spot.
But we're talking about kind of not knowing people's identity. The reason I brought up lunch was because, to set the scene, you, I and the boss of XFM went to a lovely Lebanese, was it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I mean, it was a chain. Let's not make it sound like it's a...
It was a chain. And you nipped off quite quickly after we'd finished.
Yeah.
Because the boss was paying, which was good. So we went up to pay and
because I had work, not because I was worried about picking up the bill.
Yeah, exactly. But the waiter was like, "You know him?" And we obviously went, "Oh yeah," because we had lunch with him.
No, we don't. It was hugely inappropriate.
And he went, "He's famous."
Oh, right.
And we went, "Okay." And he went, "Yeah, he's..." And we thought, probably seen you from the telly, not the radio, that's fair enough. Yeah. We know our place in the grand scheme of things. And he went, yeah. Looks like little boy pop star Ed Sheeran.
Ah, yeah, of course. So what, he thought my fame was based off the fact I looked like?
Well, I think when you first started to go in there, he thought you were Ed Sheeran.
Right.
And then he worked out that, no, you weren't Ed Sheeran.
I had a guy come up to me this week, a waiter in a cafe, and he went, recognised you. And I went, all right. And he went, yeah, I used to work in the cafe down the road. You used to come in there. But then, in a great turn of events, about 10 minutes later, the guy came up to me and he said, I'm the producer of This Week in Politics with Michael Portillo and Diane Abbott. Do you want to come on that? I was like, this is the greatest day of my life.
Are you going to?
Well, I don't know. See how my diary is. But yeah, I'd love to. I mean, very exciting.
That looks like a good fun show.
Yeah. I mean, strange show. I don't think Portillo's on it anymore, actually, is it? It's Alan Johnson. It's neither here nor there, that discussion. Oh, no, it's Portillo. I think it's Diane Abbott, that obviously. Doesn't matter. If someone say, how do you target the core XFM demographic, would you say with discussions over who the regular panel are on Andrew Neil's This Week in Politics?
That isn't in the audience survey?
No, because Alan Johnson would have replaced Diane Abbott because they want a Labour and a Tory, not a man and a woman.
True.
It's not how it works, is it?
Josh Widdicombe podcast XFM.
This is Josh Widdicombe on XFM. How are you? Good. The main problem is I'm very loud in my ears. I haven't really tested my headphones, so I feel like I sound sexier than I do.
Oh no, you sound sexy.
Oh, that's good news. Normally, now I don't want to create a kind of behind the magician's cloak.
Yeah.
Is that the right phrase?
Rather than skirt.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, exactly.
But, women or men could be magicians these days, mate. It's the 21st century.
True.
I believe in it. Faye Presto.
Yeah.
And other female magicians. Normally, in this point, we'd make it look like we're just having a chat, but often we'll go, shall we talk about that? We've got nothing to talk about this week, have we?
My fence blew down.
You what?
My fence blew down.
Your fence blew down? Why didn't you bring this up earlier?
Because we were...
Has the weather been that bad? Or is it a bad fence?
Bad fence.
Really?
So I'm currently looking at boundaries.
What's the situation re you and your neighbour's ownership of the fence?
This is what I'm looking into, to see if we can split the cost. But there was one positive.
Well, does it depend which way it's blown?
No, it's just because...
Did it blow you into your garden or theirs?
It blew into theirs, but they're never really there.
Are they not?
No. So,
do you reckon they've just got a holiday home in Reading?
I could understand if they wanted to. Yeah. But I got to use my crowbar yesterday, which is all.
Did you?
A good day.
What were you doing?
Smashing up the fence.
Leaving in an anecdote. You were smashing up a fence?
I was smashing up the fence, yeah.
Why didn't you just put it back up?
Oh, it's all broken and rotten.
Yeah. So what are you going to do? You don't really know. You've just got an open plan double garden with your Mysterious neighbours. Do you know them?
No, I've never met her. It's a lady, and I've never met her in my life.
Might be a magician. It's unlikely. It's unlikely that you live next to a magician.
I'd love it if he did.
You know, they certainly made that fence disappear. Am I right, guys? Hello? Hello? No?
No.
Should I play a song?
Yeah.
Should have planned it, mate. Should have planned it.
Josh Widdicombe. XFM.
New music from the Hearts on XFM now. Producer Neil on the Josh Widdicombe Show. It is, probably our longest running feature.
We've been doing it for 53 weeks.
Have we? Oh, we missed our chance last week to...
Oh, to celebrate the year.
Yeah.
But what it made me think when I realised this fact is there's at least a year of podcasts before it where there'll be hundreds of mistakes.
Hundreds of mistakes. I mean, it is when we open ourselves up, any other business, what are your issues with the show? If it's basically points of view. No, it's only like factual issues. It's not like didn't enjoy that episode. Hi, Josh. Last Sunday's Ting Tings tribute show. Let's make it clear the Ting Tings haven't died.
No.
That it wasn't a Ting Tings tribute show. It was just a show where for somehow we talked for 3 hours about the Ting Tings. It's better than it sounds. Actually, it sounds good.
Download the podcast.
Download the podcast. Last Sunday's Ting Tings tribute show was gold, and I said we didn't go in for things that weren't factual, but that obviously that's a bonus. And it was a perfect way for me to achieve nothing on the first day back at the office while desperately trying to contain my laughter. Who knew the true depth of this topic? And all from a constant promo that I'm guessing that you caught in passing. I just checked the schedule, and the show seems to be rescheduled to April. Now, I've checked this myself. This is the fact Ting Tings were listed in rough trade in Williamsburg. It's playing an in-store on the 21st of January. On their website, it says they're playing in April. But it does say they're playing the Bowery Ballroom on the 20th of January.
Right.
So, I think what's happened there is, during the show, the radio show, they thought that they must have sold out the first Williamsburg in-store and added another date. Due to the fact I'd given them so much advance publicity about it. I think that either that or I've stumbled across a secret Ting Tings gig. And I mean, we shouldn't start talking about the Ting Tings for the second week in a row, but I would argue a secret Ting Tings gig. I think if you're hosting a Ting Tings gig, you need to give it as much publicity push as possible. I mean, I'm already impressed that you're putting on a Ting Tings gig. Don't make it more difficult for yourself. Yada, yada, yada. The fact that Williamsburg hipsters are only now catching up with the Ting Tings illustrates what's really happening in the city right now. Couldn't agree more. Cheers, Milan Patel. Hi, Josh. Going through the backlog and listening to episode 23.
Wow.
Before it got good, I have stumbled across a criminal AOB. When talking about a dead man's t-shirt anecdote, Tom Crane says it's like listening to Frank Sinatra telling stories in between songs. He then finishes the joke by singing That's Amore, which we probably had to pay licence fees on. Also, when that showed up in like the in the list of what they've paid for. At the top office, it must have looked like we'd made a very strange track selection halfway through. He then finishes the joke by singing That's More. Anyone with any self-respect knows that's a Dean Martin song. Although outdated, I feel it should still be brought to your attention, William Sanking. Josh, producer Neil, intern Charles. This is perhaps now bleakly unseasonal. I wouldn't say that. I mean, but in episode 90, Xmas Special Part 2, during Nathaniel Metcalf's feature Radio Get With The Times, he and Josh agreed that the snowman was set in Sussex because he flies south out of Britain. In fact, the boy lives in Brighton. Can you spot the mistake there?
Charles?
You still fly south?
No, Brighton is in Sussex. Well, it's absolutely... that's absolutely absurd.
They've wasted their time.
What do they think Sussex is? In fact, the boy lives in Brighton as they fly out of Britain, then fly over Brighton Pier and the Pavilion. Then later, Father Christmas hands him a present labelled to James in Brighton. Blandly, informatively yours, Molly. Not bland, informative to an extent, in that we are narrowing it down to Brighton, but also no idea of the wider picture. I think the problem is, while that is informative, if you're going to take part in the feature where you pick people up on facts, you need to get your own house in order first.
Dear Josh, well, working my way through some past podcasts, not the phraseology I'd ideally go for, working my way through. It's not the gulag. I've got to get through this podcast, otherwise they're not going to let me out. Well, working my way through some past podcasts, I noticed that in the cookery section... What are we doing with our lives? In the cookery section of episode 76, you used the incorrect pronunciation of the Italian starter bruschetta. Being an Englishman who now lives in Italy, it is my pretentious joy to point out that in Italian, when sh precedes E or I, it should be pronounced k sound. Therefore, the correct pronunciation should be bruschetta, and not bruschetta. Pedantically yours, Simon Baton, Florence, Italy. It's good to learn, isn't it? I've not had I've not learnt like that since I tweeted that Pizza Express were advertising their new panino. And I said, no one calls it that, and got a lot of tweets saying, yeah, that's what people call it.
Really?
Yeah.
It's panini, isn't it?
Well, that's what I thought, mate.
Like Paolo?
Not according to the information superhighway, it's not, mate.
Okay, fair enough.
Like Paolo Panini?
Yeah.
Who's Paolo Panini?
Just the way, the end of it, intonation. Paolo Nutini.
Paolo Nutini, sorry. I was thinking Di Canio.
Next.
Dear Josh and producer Neil, I have an AOB regarding episode 89 of the podcast. They've worked their way through far further than the last person. In response to a question about a homemade lamp, I repeat, what are we doing with our lives? Why? Why are we doing this? In response to a question about a homemade lamp, your guest, don't know who that is, backed up by producer Neil, said that if you don't have an earth wire, if you touch any part of the lamp, it will electrocute you. This is not the case. The earth wire's job is to take the current around the circuit, away from the surface. If the live wire should break, therefore the lamp would only electrocute you if it had been dropped or shaken vigorously. Yours pedantically, Fiona. She might be right, but I would say what she's done there is basically said we can be more lax with health and safety.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to go wrong by thinking something can electrocute you. Surely you're more... It's more of a problem if you think it can't electrocute you.
Always beware of lamps.
Of lamps. Hi, Josh, producer Neil, and intern Charles.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, nice. It's always good to get him involved, isn't it?
Yeah. Bless him.
Slightly delayed AOB regarding a recurring mistake made 2 weeks ago on the show. I mean, they think that's slightly delayed. The first one was from episode 76. Slightly delayed AOB regarding a recurring mistake made 2 weeks ago on the show. That, if it were an episode of Friends, would be titled the one where the Ting Tings were mentioned far more than anyone expected. Be a great episode of Friends, wouldn't it?
That would be.
Just the kick. Just, the shot in the arm there Bran needs. But let's not get back on the Ting Tings. Naturally, this is a kick in the teeth. Naturally, the only song anyone's heard of. What a horrible way to start a sentence. Naturally, the only song anyone's heard of by them was referenced regularly. However, you repeatedly called it That's My Name, when in fact it's called That's Not My Name. I'm far too pedantic to let this slide, hence this email too. Hopefully. They've misspelled too. For someone who's far too pedantic to let it slide, they shouldn't have hyphenated email and misspelled too. Put this issue to bed once and for all. Oh no, they've spelled two correctly, but they've put the commas in an annoying place. Either way, love the show, Pete Hicks. Correct, but shouldn't have hyphenated email.
Okay, I will mute the bell.
Can we give Peter Hicks a muted bell sound? There we go. If you have any issues, email us josh@xfm.co.uk.
Josh Widdicombe. Podcast. XFM.
Blink 182 on XFM. I think that would have been a much better name. because it was always Blink 182, wasn't it? But do we know where that came? Do we care?
I don't know, Charles. Intern Charles.
No. The question it wasn't do we know it, Neil. Is do we care? If the answer is no, Charles, call off the hounds.
Well, I'm going to say no, so we can get on with this link.
Okay. School elections. Did you ever stand? I imagine, no offence, you were too much of a non-event.
Wow.
No, because you have to be one end of the scale or the other. You have to be really popular or have a complete lack of self-awareness. And I think you had too much self-awareness.
I'm not going to say part of this link.
Oh, come on! Did you stand? Clearly you didn't. You're sitting down because you didn't stand, mate.
I was in primary school. There was no elections, but I was house captain.
Oh, really? Well, there was no elections. It was... you were elected...
I was just made house captain.
You were made house captain, a kind of dictatorship.
Well, no,
it was handed down to you like the royal family.
I think there were 6 houses in the class and I was one of the house captains.
There were 6 houses in the class?
Yeah.
And what did you do with your powers?
Delivered milk efficiently and led the team out at sports day.
Hey, if only Maggie Thatcher had a similar policy. Yeah. My friend Ian stood for head of house, but he lost because the person he was competing against delivered his... they all had to do a speech of what they were going to do. He delivered it doing a headstand while having his ankles held by the previous head of house. Which, as Ian says, it was essentially... It was a coronation. It wasn't an election, it was a coronation. I didn't stand because I was too much of a non-event, and I'm happy with that, Neil.
Okay, good.
Some of us aren't still dealing with those issues.
Josh Widdicombe. Podcast XFM.
Norman Cook from the House Martins trying to go solo. See how it works out for him. I'm hopeful.
Could be onto something.
He could be on. It's a real departure. I felt from Caravan of Love. I was hoping it'd be more like Caravan of Love, if I'm honest with you. No?
One of the best songs ever written, in my opinion.
What, that?
No, Caravan of Love.
Oh, right, yeah, I was going to say. Imagine if you thought the best song ever written was Rockefeller Skank by Fatboy Slim.
Someone out there, that'll be there.
Someone out there, that'll be there.
Good on them.
But I think there's a difference between it's your favourite song. If it was your favourite song because of some kind of connection or it just hit you at the right time. But if you thought that was the greatest pop song ever written, like you would refuse to accept that there was a song by the Beatles that was better than Rockefeller Skank.
That person is out there.
That person is out there, and he's married to Zoe Ball.
Josh Widdicombe. XFM.
Depeche Mode? Depeche Mode?
Depeche.
Depeche's Castle. That's my new reality TV show. In which you have to complete a series of humiliating physical tasks while playing a guitar. I don't reckon they used a guitar in Depeche Mode, did they? Depeche Mode?
I reckon they will have done.
Do you?
Yeah.
At some point they probably did.
Intern Charles, can you Google for some photo?
What are the names of Depeche Mode?
Anyway.
Sorry. I thought if we're going to talk over the end of a Depeche Mode song, at least show them the politeness to talk about them. But that's not what we're talking about today. Although, after Ting Tings last week, have you ever met... No, that's not. Not as funny with Depeche Mode, is it? Quite, Have you ever met one of Depeche Mode?
Within the last 12 months. Yeah, I was his gardener
in his massive house. You what?
Within the last 12 months.
The last 12 months. So, number one, I'm reading a book at the moment, which you've read.
I have, yeah.
Which is unbelievable. Which is... I mean, I was saying it's difficult to know whether anyone thinks Rockefeller Skank is the greatest book ever written. I reckon Louise Wenner's memoirs of being in Sleeper are probably better than certainly, 99% of books that have ever been written. Certainly, I'd say Louise Wenner is better than Charles Dickens. Certainly moves at a quicker pace. And there's more celebrity anecdotes. I find it easier to identify with her than, Nicholas Nickleby. If Charles Dickens had written a book about Britpop, I could get on board a bit more. Anyway, the opening bit is about her recording the radio. Did you used to record the radio on cassette?
Yeah.
We discussed you record XFM. Did you used to record the charts, though?
Oh, yeah, all the time. Charts were great.
Yeah. I used to record the countdown bit as well. I don't know why I did that. When was I ever going to listen to that back? Also making mixtapes is a similar thing. So I just thought, have you ever made a mixtape for anyone now?
Numerous ones, yeah.
Have you?
Yeah, I think I courted my wife with various mixtapes.
Did you?
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid making one called Now 60, because I thought that sounded like such a far off dream. And now look at us. Oh, I mean, the innocence.
You should have copyrighted it, and then when it rolled round.
Like the people that copyrighted 21st Century Fox and made loads of money.
Exactly.
I'm going to copyright Now 100. Do you reckon Now 100 will sell, like, surprisingly well, because people will go...
Now that's what I call music.
Now that's what... Like, because, they'll go, oh, it's a historic one. No.
I don't know.
So we want stories of mixtapes you've made. Who have you given them to? Anything related to mixtapes, or anything related to things you've recorded off the radio. Yep.
Yep.
Secondly, on the Now thing, I have no truck for those ones that are the bonus nows. You know, like the Now Dance.
Now that's what I call Christmas.
Now that's what I call Christmas. Now thanks, that's what I say. Things you pretended to like to fit in with your friends. Have you got anything on this?
I was trying to think when we spoke about this.
Well, I'll tell you then. I don't know. I still don't know the answer to this. But you know when... this is a kind of subsection of the question. When your friends are when you're at school, people pretend to like something so you say you like it as well. And then they go, no, we didn't really like it.
Yeah.
And I remember people doing that with Shampoo's Trouble. But you remember Shampoo's Trouble?
Yeah, definitely. It's one of the best songs ever written.
Yeah, wait there. No, we're not playing it today again. Oh, well, maybe next week. Oh, I wish we were playing Shampoo's Trouble. But I still don't know whether they meant it. Because I never cracked and said I liked Shampoo's Trouble. Have you had any? No. Charles? Intern Charles.
Pokemon.
Pokemon? You pretended to like Pokemon?
Never got into it.
Oh, that's... but did you collect anyway?
A bit, yeah.
Oh.
Begrudgingly.
Oh, waste of money and time.
Yeah.
The worst. At least with Shampoo's Trouble, it's 3.5 minutes. And it's a pop classic.
Josh Widdicombe. XFM podcast.
Churches, get away? No. Seriously, it is churches. Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that going to make the podcast?
We can make the podcast if you wanted to.
Yeah. But can you just chop it so it's just that bit so it looks like I've recorded the joke per time of that link? It would look like I've recorded the perfect link.
Josh Widdicombe podcast. XFM.
Varna on XFM coming up after the hour on the Josh Widdicombe show. Although he is stuck on public transport, so you might... I mean, what we can do now?
We'll just talk like this.
We'll just carry on without him. Ivo Graham might be on his way. I mean, if anything, the exciting thing is stay tuned to see whether he makes it. I would.
Josh Widdicombe podcast. XFM.
She said. No, it's just called She Said, isn't it? Even though they repeat it twice. The Long Pigs on XFM. Ivo Graham hasn't made it. It's Josh Widdicombe. He is on the stairs. Is that fair to say?
No, I don't think Charles... I think Charles is on the stairs going to get him.
He's in the building.
Yes.
So, I think we're good enough without him. Should we do a text before he comes in?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're looking for your text down. 2 things. 1, stories of recording off the radio mixtapes you've given to people or whatever. 2, things you pretended to like to impress your friends. I mean, this is really good. I kind of think we should wait for Ivo because it's really... I mean, it's a really good tweet.
Come on, just read it out.
Okay. I once pretended to dislike marshmallows at a barbecue. To impress my friend's dad, who I had a crush on. Oh, here is Ivo Graham. We're on air, Ivo.
Hello.
Hello. You've walked the wrong way. You're the first guest we've ever had that has arrived midway through his first link.
I'm doing the traditional 11:08 till 1 slot. Hello.
Well, I wish you were, mate, because it's 11:10. If you'd been here at 11:08, you'd have caught the last minute of the Long Pigs.
Sorry, that was foyer time. I don't know who the Long Pigs are. Is that Richard Hawley's band?
Yeah.
Oh, I do know who the Long Pigs are.
Let's restart the text.
Restart the text. This is on things you pretended to like to impress your friends.
Okay.
I once pretended to dislike marshmallows at a barbecue to impress my friend's dad, who I had a crush on.
Wow.
You've arrived at the right point.
Yeah, I'm so glad I didn't miss that. Or have to just talk to you about it in the pub afterwards. Sorry, Pret.
I called toasted marshmallows childish and mocked the other children who were eating them. I was maybe 11, but super sure my friend's father would like me back and see me as an adult because of my mature and discerning disdain for warm, gooey sweets.
Oh my God.
That's from Georgina.
I like the idea
Georgiana. Georgiana.
I like the idea of the dad being picking up on it, but also respecting the fact she is a minor. 7 years later, she gets an email. Hello, still ate marshmallows?
Yeah, I mean that's
what I'd do in the situation.
Is that what you do?
You know, divorced at a barbecue.
Well, you've got 7 years to get out your marriage as well,
and 7 years to get into one. Well, I'm honing in, I think.
It was all perfectly above board.
Wow.
Yeah.
Marshmallows.
Are you a fan of marshmallows?
I love.
Have you ever pretended to like something to fit in with your friends, or dislike something?
Well.
I suppose dislike's actually one that you do a lot more than like.
I'd say that's probably true, actually.
Like, I'm sure, no one at school is admitting that they like Fleetwood Mac, but everyone does.
Yeah. When does I was, but then when
you were 11, you were.
No, when I was 11, I was trying to flirt with girls at barbecues, but they were always going for the older men. I don't really know. I don't think I've ever tried to. I think I've just got such an admirable sense of self that I don't need to. I think you pretend to like things to be polite, but I've never pretended to be a sort of fan of anything to get into the. I did Russian for GCSE because quite a lot of the cool guys in my year were doing it.
Right,
they were talking about how rock and roll the trip to Moscow would be when I slept in the same hotel room as the teacher because I was the one person left over from all the players.
Oh no!
That's fine.
Two singles.
What? Two singles?
Not
yeah,
top and tail.
Absolutely not with Reznikov's athlete's foot. No, we. But the joke was on them because they all quit after a year, whereas I continued all the way to do a degree in it, which I'm no longer using.
The winner there. Well, we'll come to you on the other subject,
which is Mixtapes, which is the one I'm really excited about.
Yeah, I mean, which is really your home.
Yeah, home turf.
Your home turf. So we'll play a song. Let's see whether this would have been on one of your mixtapes. Codaline?
No.
Josh Widdicombe. Podcast. XFM.
Ivo Graham is still
here for the 10th time.
For the 10th time on the Josh Widdicombe show. Does that make you the most used guest?
Yeah.
Excluding regulars?
We always have to say excluding regulars. I wouldn't want to be a regular. You listen to Kumar and Metcalf,
don't worry.
the
offer's not been made, mate. So let's. I wouldn't want to play for Man U, so.
Well, I'm playing for Man U, and I'm now having a testimonial. Is that what you get after 10 years?
Yes. Yeah, it is. I'll give you a testimonial when you're looking for a job on another radio station, mate.
Oh, man.
Oh man.
Brutal.
Mixtapes I'm recording off the radio. I suppose you might. How old are you? 23?
24.
24. You probably post-date recording off the radio.
It's a bit. I did it, but I was ahead of my time for like my age.
Yeah.
And quite quickly it was mixed CDs. That's my main area of expertise.
Have you given mixed CDs to girls?
Absolutely loads, and boys, but with different intentions.
Oh yeah.
Well, if I was giving it to a boy, he'd know that I really, really cared about him getting into some of the new music I was sending him.
I'd find it creepy.
Really?
I don't
Some
want...
of them did as well.
Would you find it creepy if I ever gave you a mixtape?
No.
If at the end of the show he said, I've made you a little something, and he'd drawn the cover, and the cover was you and him walking towards the sunset.
Well, I never did that, obviously. No,
I might cherish it.
Well, I've something to think about for appearance 11. No, I wouldn't draw the cover, but what I would do is try to write down all the song titles and track titles on the CD itself.
On the CD itself?
That was the really fun challenge, because you'd end up getting really sort of resentful of bands with long names or long song titles.
Yeah.
You think, not on this mix CD.
So what are your tips for people creating mix?
So yeah, try and make it as close to the 80 minutes or 79:45 as possible.
Yeah.
Try and mix up, pace it well. So you want sort of fast song, slow song, faster. But I'm sure, like when you're playlisting the XFM thing, the same level of thought goes into it. And the really fun challenge is try to put songs in different sort of track listing than they are on the albums themselves.
Oh.
So it's like a manager.
So you bring whole new life by putting on the Resurrection.
It's like a manager who sees a footballer and sort of plays him in a different position and turns his career around. So because the temptation is just you associate a song with being the first track on an album, so you put it first track on the mixtape. But actually, if you see a really good track 8 and think this could kick things off. I think it was mainly influenced by when the Q magazine's Best of 2003 CD used "Pounding" by Doves, which is a great song from Graham.
As the opening track. Yeah,
that's like track 9 on the album, but it works really well.
Yeah, I bet. Well, let's see what you think of this one then. This is from Tal Horwitz. When I was 14, my boyfriend at the time was the first person in our friendship group to have a CD burner on his computer.
Amazing.
And he used it to make me mix CDs. I found them when I moved a few years ago. So this is 4 tracks from it. One of them had Pink Floyd's Numb, Nirvana's Lithium,
Wow,
Westlife's Flying Without Wings,
amazing,
and the Baha Men's Who Let the Dogs Out.
Wow, that's like the sort of Benjamin Button of music tastes, like getting increasingly less credible as the track listing goes on.
What we want, not just the track listings of your mixtapes, but also what are the lengths you've gone to on a mixtape in designing the artwork. Like I remember making a girl a mixtape, and it had an 8-page inlay CD, inlay card, so it had pages.
Oh wow. Would you write the track listing and then write why you thought they'd like each song?
No, but I remember once recording a copy of This Is My Truth, Tell Me Yours for someone, and I put my star rating out of 5 for each song.
Amazing. Like I used to do on iTunes, and I
mean, if Nicky Wire had found that would have been an absolute arrow to his heart, wouldn't it?
Josh Widdicombe. XFM.
Coming up, we have Call My Josh. Before that, do you want an update on the from Georgiana on the marshmallow story?
Absolutely.
So this is the girl that tried to impress her friend's dad when she was 11 by claiming she was too grown up for marshmallows.
Not just impress, seduce. That's the first taste.
Seeing as you read out my text, thank you, but did pronounce my name incorrectly. As an update, the man I tried to impress with my marshmallow aversion is now dating my mother.
Wow.
What a twist.
That'd be gutting.
But Georgiana, does your mum like marshmallows? That's the big question.
Or is that somehow not the crucial factor
And
anymore?
also, does your mum and the guy know? Both questions that I hope Georgiana will be able to answer.
Even worse, finding out that your daughter had always fancied. God, it's a murky old. Do we know how old she is now?
No, we want all these facts. We've got her phone number. Should we get her on the phone?
That's a yeah.
That's a no.
Josh Widdicombe. XFM.
Right, Call My Josh. In which we should get like a bed for this, like tense music. But anyway, have we got one?
You carry on. I'll see what I've got.
Okay. Oh, we never got Stop the Cavalry at the worst.
Oh no! It's my favourite Christmas song.
It is. Well, we got the. Do you want underscoring Call My Josh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Keep going.
Right. So, I'm going to give you 5 of a subject. You have to say which are real, which are false.
Amazing.
Now, this is a chance to get your average up, because last time you scored 2.
Yep.
Nish Kumar got his average up last week. He got a 3 to add to his 1, so he moved level with you on 2.
So I'm now joint bottom of the leaderboard.
You're now joint
so
bottom.
I have to get more than 2.
So you need to get more than 2.
God, it's depressing that I'll never get 5.
Yeah, well, Acaster was on 5 and came down. So BT Edmondson
I could come in once a month and get 5 for the next 10 years, and I'd just be getting closer and closer, but never getting there.
And if BT Edmondson never guesses again, she'd always remain ahead of you.
God, maths is cruel.
Right, you ready?
It's hardly Stop the Cavalry, but on we go.
It's not how I remember this song. The subjects you have this week are celebrities and their hobbies.
Right.
Are these true or false? Former Tory MP Michael Portillo makes all of his own clothes.
Wonderful, but not true.
No? He wears those kind of quite bright jackets, do you not?
Yeah, but I think there's a massive leap between wearing slightly odd clothes and wearing entirely homemade clothes. I've never worn clothes. I've worn lots of bad clothes, but never so much that people have gone, did you stitch that together yourself at home? That'd be a really belittling
thing to say. Did you make those trousers?
So I'm afraid no, I don't think Portillo does.
Okay. 1 out of 1.
Okay. I thought you were going to wait till the end. You told me my whole score at the end.
It's going to be like that game Mastermind, where I'm going to tell you how many you've got right, and then you've got to go again.
I love that game.
Yeah, it was good, wasn't it? 6 times world snooker champion Steve Davis owns Britain's largest collection of Northern Soul records.
Yes, I think No, you've looked sort of appalled that I've gone for one of the 2 answers available to me there.
Do you think that's true? Do you think Steve Davis,
but you look more
60 million people in the UK?
Yes, I think that's entirely possible. And you're looking shocked as if, like, it would be less surprising if he'd recorded all of them himself, like Portillo with his clothes. No, I think he does own the most Northern Soul records.
Correct.
Yes.
It's a chance now.
I've never started this well.
Patricia Routledge from Keeping Up Appearances is the president of the Robot Wars fan club.
I don't know anything about Patricia Routledge.
She's Hyacinth Bouquet from Keeping Up Appearances.
But it hasn't helped. But
I've never seen Keeping Up Appearances?
No, I'm afraid not. Although it is my motto for coming on the Josh Widdicombe show. I don't want to... This is such a lazy stereotype, but I think I'd put the life of me and all of my family on the fact that the Robot Wars president is probably a man. So it's going to be a no there.
Correct. 3 out of 3.
I think if I was Acast or Nish listening into this, they'd say he's had a pretty easy run so far.
Yeah. My future wife, Taylor Swift, makes her own snow globes.
That is... well, I can neither confirm nor deny that she's your future wife.
No, that's true. That is true.
Although she's lovely to her fans, and I watched a YouTube thing about it, and I think it did involve her hand making stuff for her fans. So I'm going to say yes.
Oh God, it's correct.
Well, don't ask me questions about Taylor Swift and expect me not to know the answer already. Ask more questions about Patricia Routledge.
4 out of 4. It's been an easy week. I said this might be an easy week.
Big 5.
This is quite a difficult one, the final one. Carlos the Jackal was finally traced by the CIA due to his subscription to Smash Hits magazine.
Can I ask who Carlos the Jackal was?
Yeah. Have you seen the cover of that Black Grape album with the guy with the dark glasses?
Oh yeah, amazing.
So that's Carlos the Jackal. He was a for hire bomber and terrorist who did it for money in the 70s and 80s and 90s maybe throughout Europe.
Oh my goodness.
And he was called Carlos the Jackal because he was very difficult to find. But they eventually found him due to a subscription.
It's very difficult to find, but Smash Hits found him every week.
I missed a CT Jackal.
No, I suppose if I was a terrorist who loved wry facts about pop stars, I'd probably get mine sent to like a neutral post box somewhere in London.
Yeah.
But did he... I think if I was really taking this seriously, I'd probably say false. But I've got 4 points. I'd love to be the guy that called this correctly. I'm going to say that's true.
It's false.
Oh, I don't care. But I don't care.
You don't care?
No, I don't think so. I wanted to believe it, and in many ways I still do.
You've got now an average of between 1 and 4. I can't work out what the exact number would be.
3.
It'd be 2.5. Your average is 2.5.
No, because I got 4 and then I got 2 and then I've got 4 this time.
2 and 4.
If anything, I got that wrong deliberately to keep my average as a round integer.
Josh Widdicombe podcast. XFM.
That more or less brings us to the end. Before that, obviously, as a thank you to everyone, you can plug whatever you'd like to plug. We never give you a chance, intern Charles. Do you want to plug anything?
No.
Okay. Producer Neil.
I will plug on the evening show from tomorrow night. You can win tickets to see Ray Morris in session, which is very good. And we're doing our Great Expectations at the moment, so a bit of brand new music for free every day via the website xfm.co.uk.
Ivo Graham.
End of June, Glastonbury, Pyramid Stage, 10 p.m. Fleetwood Mac, as you've never seen them before.